On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old
Good Friday. I remember when I was a young boy in Plaisance, Guyana, and we would hear somebody walking around with a basket on their head, and they would be saying hot cross buns. But for us little kids, the best thing is when we could make our kites. You see, we would make our kites mostly on Friday, because on Sunday we want to fly these kites. So we would not go to the shops, right? Some of us couldn't afford it. I mean, the shops didn't have a lot of ready-made kites like you have now, but we would make our kites from scratch, and we would put the wood together, the frame, and nail it in the middle. Then we would cut pieces of paper to make the designs, so that you have a unique design for your kite, but it was all handmade. Then we would add the polythene or nylon, and then the tail. And the kite had a feature called the tongue, which we call the tongue. When you fly it in the sky, the wind blows on it and it will make a sound. And it sounds like we say the kite is singing. So we would wait on Sunday morning, and we would hope that it doesn't rain, because we want to get up early and fly our kites in the village or on the seawall or go to the park. This entire experience gives us that feeling of Easter. But really what Easter is about is God sending his son to die for us. And it says that on Friday, from about 12 to about 3, the earth went dark. And this is when it said that God had to turn his face, and Jesus said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? He was not really saying that, that God forsook him, but, God turned his face because he couldn't bear to see his son in so much pain. He sent his son to die for us. And Jesus himself took on that sacrifice, and he came and he went through such pain. He took a beating in front of the Sanhedrins. Then with the Roman soldiers of Pilate, they put a crown of thorns on his head, and they weren't satisfied with that. They beat that down onto his head. They pierced him in the side. They nailed him onto a cross, and put nails between his nails in his arms, and that must have been painful, right? And I heard a sermon this Sabbath gone that the Romans knew how to inflict pain, and even where they placed the nails, it was to hit certain nerves that would maximize the pain. And so Jesus went through this for us. He went through this whole painful process so that we could have an everlasting life. And then on Sunday, when in Acts chapter 1 and verse 9 to 11 tells us that when they stood looking at him ascending, the two angels said to them, this same Jesus who you are looking at going up, you will see him return. Right? So this kite experience of flying this kite, and the kite goes up into the sky, reminded us of Jesus going to heaven. And then, of course, in the evening, we had to take down the kites. Some people left it, and it was going all night until the wind took it away, I guess. But taking down the kite as well, it's reminding us that Jesus is coming again for us. He died for us on the cross, and then he went to heaven, and he is coming back for us. So this Easter, let us thank Jesus, and let us thank God for this sacrifice, that we can have everlasting life. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. But I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for my crown. Thank you, Jesus, for dying for me on this cross.